So the reason the journey went the way that it did with inviting you to observe, oh, I am recording, okay. Inviting you to observe how the Reiki worked for you is understanding your intuition style. So there are many different styles of intuition, and often we expect the style to be clairvoyance or a feeling, so where we see our intuition or feel our intuition. But there are really many types of intuition, and for having taught this for years, both in shamanism and in Reiki, and then in the next step Reiki classes that Robin and I teach, one of the biggest reason people struggle with, say, a Reiki journey or heightened intuition or really understanding some of the, what we call maybe intuitive impressions or psychic impressions that you might receive in a Reiki session, but not know quite how to put it all together. One of the main reasons people struggle with that is because of learning what their intuition style is, because it's different for everyone. And so it can lead to doubting your intuition, not even knowing what it is. Many people even had their intuition either underdeveloped or actually disempowered in your life, maybe not even really realizing what it is. And Reiki so naturally activates it that it's popping up and coming through. And then there's more that you can know about it and skill you can develop with it, as well as Reiki, empowering you with it and noticing how it's starting to show up. Sometimes it feels like it can be a challenge in quieting your mind to discern what is intuition. Are you making it up? Is it real? Having a lack of clarity around it, or fear of doing it wrong, getting the wrong idea. And sometimes then, because your intuition may show up in particular ways, one of the biggest questions that I hear people say is, am I making it up? So the making it up can be one of those blocks to it. Usually what I find when people have described, say, their experience in a Reiki journey, if they were going to make it up, they would have made it up differently than how it came through, because oftentimes it's random seeming, or maybe not even sequential, kind of a dream state that can happen too. So what we wanted to talk about is more awareness of how your intuition affects your ability with, now in this case, we're also talking about your intuition during a Reiki journey. So that's what Robin just did with you, was guided you on a Reiki journey and invited you to actually observe how you were noticing yourself in the journey. So when we're going over the bridge of light, did you see it? Did you imagine it? Did you just know it was there? Did you struggle with seeing any of it or knowing any of it? Did you think about the bridge of light, like in your thoughts? I'm walking over the bridge now and I know there's the color of red and I'm walking through the orange. So did it come through as your own mind telling you, I'm walking over the bridge? And so when you think about your clair senses is what they're called, we actually have them on our website. So having, like, for instance, clairvoyance, which is the one most people associate with intuition, being able to see your intuition. Having always been a very clairvoyant person, without knowing what it is, for me, I just saw pictures in my head. I didn't have an understanding of my clairvoyance, just that was part of the way I observed life. And then when I started to understand clairvoyance as an intuition, then I could actually start empowering it, developing it, getting to where I understood it. But also, I consciously activated some of my other clair senses. And the clair intellect is a big one. That's the one where you think your intuition, and it often gets so overlooked because we're not used to kind of saying, yes, I can think my intuition. Logical intuition is an important intuition. Um, Thinking your intuition, and you get to where you know, am I in my bright mind, and is this my intuitive thinking, my higher thought, or am I in just like my, uh, thinking, trying to figure it all out type of a brain or mind. So clairaudience, another one, many people hear their intuition. I'll have an occasional hearing where it's actually audible. That's when it like really catches my attention and it feels like it comes in. This is called our mouth of God chakra, the right where your skull meets your spine in the back of your neck. And then it comes through as an actual voice. But I think of hearing as even that hearing feels more in my mind. I'm hearing it not necessarily audibly through my ears, but in my inner knowing. And clairsentience, clear feeling. So a lot of us have clairsentience, where we intuitively, we might call that empathy, where we can intuitively feel the energy of someone else and or something else. Claircognizance, of clear knowing, that's that sudden knowing. I think of that also very much as your gut instincts also, but it's also an intuition style. And then clair empathy, where we are sensing each other's emotions. For me, that's one of the reasons I wanted to start today with the work that we did for all the weather events happening around the world, because my empathy can really get caught in the the feelings of others, even if I don't know them personally, which can add empathic stress. And I don't also at the same time, I don't want to shut that off completely, but what I can do is notice it and then find what I can do about it in that moment. So sometimes it's a matter of even elevating your empathy into a higher level of awareness. Clairtangency, the when you touch something and you can perceive it. So, for instance, you might have seen in psychics on television where they hold an object and they can intuit what has happened through that object. And then clairgustance, clear tasting, sensing through taste. And I actually I'll have that one pop in as well. So what you'll notice is that you probably have a dominant clair sense, and then some of the others that pop in or are maybe just another part of your intuition, but not quite as dominant as your your main one. But the other thing that I learned is that I could learn them too. Some of them not quite so much. Like I really don't have the experience of the Clair, the touching one. Um, for instance, I can't necessarily pick up an object and gain information about the object, although I can feel like energy in an object, whether it needs to be cleared or so for instance, a ring or something like that, if I picked it up and I could feel maybe energy in it. So I might have it a little bit that way. But all of this is the way that it applies to your consciousness. And this is part of your authentic intellect. So our authentic intellect includes our intuition, our imagination, our instincts. It also includes our inner knowing. It includes that inner truth. All of that is part of our authentic intellect, what we are actually born with. So then the question is, how do we connect with it? And how do we then apply it in a useful way in our daily life? And so that's what Reiki can do, and that's why we specifically teach these guided Reiki journeys in our distance Reiki shares. It's part of what we teach in our classes, our next step classes, our 12 heavens class, because what happens is as you activate this ability within you, you're actually activating your authentic intellect. And that then applies and becomes useful in your daily life because you've now activated it and it does, it becomes available to you. You have access to that part of your intellect. And so the more we work with it, on a skill level, it gives us a greater understanding of why and how and what we're doing. So we use techniques to actually develop those skills. But also, the Reiki energy naturally does that within you. And it starts to activate it. It's that inner nudge that I think so many of us feel, which is why we're here, that inner nudge to remember more about your true self, your authentic self. And in this case, what we are focusing on is your authentic intellect. And that is your intuition is a big piece of that. So Reiki will heal the areas. That's why in the journey that Robin guided you on, Reiki actually was healing the blocks and limitations to your authentic intuition, intellect, imagination, and then empowering it within you. And through that empowerment, it activates within you your decision to receive it and say yes to that wisdom is you actually setting an intention that you are ready and wanting to activate more of your authentic intellect, which also then gives Reiki energy, which is conscious, the ability to assist you in that activation, to assist you to your more of your authentic skills and knowledge and wisdom that's actually innate. Like your intuition is innate, it's already there. The part that is a struggle is because of the cultural conditioning around it. And we're doing it through the Reiki journey techniques, but that's because that style actually trains your mind to higher levels of consciousness and then applies in your daily life. So even if during the actual journey that you're on today came through in mind chatter, or you drifted off somewhere else, or you're still not sure about it all, it's still you inviting the activation of it. It's you inviting that intuition to activate, your imagination to elevate, your consciousness then to bring it into a daily life, your human mind, your heart mind, your gut mind.